IPCC report ហ្នឹងគេ compare data from before industrial revolution ឆ្នាំ 1850 ដល់ឆ្នាំ 1900 គាត់ហ្នឹង compare data ពីនោះមកឥឡូវ right the temperature the global temperature យល់ថាពីនោះប្រហែលទៅឥឡូវធៀបមួយនោះវាឡើងប្រហែល so the main goal is to try to keep it 1.5 according to the people of Paris Agreement យកមកពី report ហ្នឹង it says as a fact it is unequivocal that human activities are responsible for climate change.
Okay, unequivocal.
It's another word for it's a fact. One of the his name is Professor Ed Hawkins, the lead author for IPCC report his statement, he said that the report states as an absolute fact that human influence is warming the planet. Okay.
Okay,
he's the lead scientist of IPCC and he said it on BBC News. But this IPCC report, one of the main things is that in 20 years from now, people size up, it will go past 1.5.
Just predict.
According to emission that you mean là
trong bên đây theo sân chia sẽ làm thêm dương lớn vì dương thở phân năng dương thôi phân năng dương được trên carbon dioxide phân năng it will pass 1.5 degrees
in 20 years.
20
years.
It
will pass
from now 20 years from now
20 years from now. That report is the biggest report, like a global report with 234 authors from 66 countries together, scientists that together all agree on that. 1.5 degree if you look at the global surface temperature of all the main region, they have main region and they have their ASOR, like by ASOR, to show like North American region, to show like all region around the world. And they look at the average yearly temperature of each region over the course of 100 years. They see that compared to 1950 compared to now 1.5 is increased by normal 1.5 degrees. That's why it's called global warming, because the whole thing is warming by 1.5 degrees. That's why we're trying to limit it.
Okay.
But then on land, it lags more because in the ocean absorb a lot of heat. Just before atmosphere, the surface atmosphere, like in the surface, not under the sea. They talk about on land, on top of the ocean. On top of the ocean, only 0.5 degree, but compared to the on land is 1.5 but average 7 1 point về toàn 1.5.
Okay, just current situation là toàn 1.5.
Current situation for land it's 1.59. But for ocean it's only 0.8. That's why average là toàn 1.5 overall. Like on the ocean is 70%, land only 30%. Average we are down 1.5.
Okay, what will happen?
There are 5 different scenarios, and scenario give a SSP. Okay, SSP nó bị shared social economic pathway. It's like a future. Okay, just scientists can come up with 5 different pathways, like 5 prediction of the future from the most optimistic to the most pessimistic. Okay, so the first one is SSP 1, trend 1.9 from 1 degree to 1.9 degree. If the world is staying from 1 to 1.9 degree, if you cut down emission and everything, so by the end of the century, some people the global temperature will stabilize 1.4 degree or 1.5 degree around there. That is the most optimistic one. If you cut down everything, if you cut down to like 0 carbon by like people has in the report they say people has you cut down to 0 emission more or like really low one, that is the IPCC report the 4 because of the Paris Agreement we agree on 1.5, so they decided to create a SSP1 scenario because of that agreement. They decided to create a buoy. The temperature around 1.5 and stabilize around 1.4. The second scenario is SSP1 to 2.6. If the temperature stays from 1 degree to 2.6 degree. Okay? It has the same shift as first scenario that, ប៉ុន្តែ it will stabilize around 1.8 degrees Celsius globally ចាំតិចទៀត I'll tell you what happened when it stabilized at 2 degrees when it stabilized at 4 degrees អីចឹងfirst two scenario ហ្នឹងណាគឺ emission go down ចាប់ពីឥឡូវទៅ emission has to go down in order to reach one of the two scenario ហ្នឹង if the emission kind of stay around now or increase ណាwe kind of cut everything but we use like the same amount of energy every year the global temperature will rise to 2.7 degrees by 2100 okay if we kind of keep doing this year like ប៉ុណ្ណឹង gigatons of emission per year អញ្ចឹងមិនតាអត់ឡើងទៀតទេ the fourth scenario is rise emission ហើយ rise ប៉ុណ្ណា rise ទៅគុណនឹង2 the earth will average around 3.6 degree ឆ្នាំ2100 okay the last scenario is the worst and it's a គេនិយាយថា a scenario to avoid at all costs okay scenario ទី5ហ្នឹងគឺ SSP oh I forgot to say SSP 5 to 8.5 មានន័យថា emission double by 2050 okay if emission double by 2050អាហ្នឹង the temperature will go to 4.4 degrees Celsius at ឆ្នាំ2100 0.5 see ពេលមកដល់នេះឆ្នាំ1000អានេះចាប់ពីឆ្នាំ0មកចាប់ពីឆ្នាំ1មកដល់ចាប់ពីឆ្នាំ1050 is around here 1050មក it see ថា it goes up poop and then it go up poop this is ឆ្នាំ1050មកដល់ឆ្នាំ2020នេះអាពណ៌នេះមានន័យថាយើងគេធ្វើ simulation ដែលអត់មានមនុស្សដែលអត់មាន human influence ទេ the climate the global temperature will be around here zone around zone but then with human influence it goes up to like 1 point something like
what I'm trying to say is if we look at from here to here see that it's increasing
yeah you can say that you can say ចាប់ពីនេះមក1150មក
that's what I'm trying to say ថាកាលពី100ឆ្នាំមុនណានេះវាឡើងតែបន្តិចទេប៉ុន្តែឥឡូវក្នុងរយៈពេលតែ20ឆ្នាំទេ it ឡើងទៅប៉ុណ្្នេះអញ្ចឹង the prediction ថា
20ឆ្នាំ70ឆ្នាំ
70ឆ្នាំ right 1950
70ឆ្នាំ70ឆ្នាំនឹងក្រោយឡើងខ្លាំង so what else what will happen with the different temperature and they look at three things មួយ is hot temperature on land hot temperature extreme មានន័យថាភ្លើងឆេះភ្លើងអី all these kind of that តើជាមួយ hot temperature ទី2គេ look at ភ្លៀង heavy precipitation heavy rain ដែលភ្លៀងខ្លាំងហើយមួយទៀតគឺ agricultural ជាមួយ ecological drought មានន័យថារាំងខ្លាំងមានគេហៅគេ drought
គ្រោះរាំងស្ងួត
គ្រោះរាំងស្ងួតអញ្ចឹងយើងនិយាយ hot temperature សិន what will happen hot temperature extreme មានន័យថាក្តៅខ្លាំង like heat wave ភ្លើងឆេះព្រៃ all that stuff ហើយគេប្របាយទី2មួយគឺ 10 year event មានន័យថាភ្លើងឆេះព្រៃឬក៏អីដែលយើងភាគច្រើនយើងមើលពី history មកកើតឡើង10ឆ្នាំកើតឡើងម្ដងនៅតាមតំបន់ណាគឺថាភ្លើងឆេះព្រៃទីទួចអីចឹងអាហ្នឹងវាកើតឡើងញឹកញាប់យល់អត់វាមួយខែម្ដងអីចឹងអាហ្នឹងវាកើតឡើងភ្លើងឆេះព្រៃទីទួចតែភ្លើងឆេះព្រៃខ្នាតធំល្មមដែលយើង see every 10 year យល់អត់ so for the 10-year event they show four things like 1 if the global warming is at 1 degree មួយទៀត at 1.5 degree that is the goal we're trying មួយទៀត at 2 degree and មួយទៀត at 4 degree okay and we will see that the frequency will go up at 1 degree 2.8 times more frequent that 10-year event will happen and at 1.5 degree 4.1 more times and the intensity also go up intensity នោះមានន័យថាអានេះ heat wave ឆេះព្រៃ
not just frequency but the intensity as well
yeah at 10-year event ហ្នឹងមុនឆេះអស់100ហិកតាប៉ុន្តែឥឡូវវាឆេះក្តៅជាងហ្នឹងទៀតឆេះអស់លើសនឹង 1.2 degree លើសហ្នឹងទៀត
don't smile this is
I'm trying to explain I know and
this is scary
the data increase exponentially clear if now we look at 50-year event ម្ដង event ហ្នឹងបើ look at history មក only happen once every 50 years and the 50-year event ហ្នឹង it's even worse like at 4 degree it's 39 times more likely to happen
no let's not look at 4 degrees let's just look at 1.5 degree
1.5 degree is 8.6 more times
shoot Trong nghĩ thayល្អបំផុតណាបានត្រឹម1.5ណា
Yeah,
so យើងធ្វើបានល្អបំផុតណា and it's still
scenario
still
1
increase.
is not 1 degree anymore.
Yeah.
Scenario 1 is 1.4 degrees, stabilized around 1.4 degrees. So we're looking at the second one.
Yeah, trong mình
Best case scenario, we're looking at the second one. So 50-year events will happen 8.6 more times than before.
về đường
And the intensity is increasing by 2 degrees. Heavy precipitation on land cái gì? The 10-year event. The flood that only happen once every 10 years in a country, let's say country A មួយ But you look at the past នោះ10ឆ្នាំមានការម្ដង10ឆ្នាំការម្ដង Okay, same thing at 1.5 or at 2 degree the frequency we're not as much as this. It will happen 1.5 more times or 1.7 more times, and the intensity is not hotter anymore, it's wetter. It's going to be more 10% more wet or 14% more wet. Now ភ្លៀងមកវាជោគជាងមុនវា intense ជាងមុនភ្លៀងវាច្រើនជាងមុន
and then so in flood and then
no flood places like London like អីក៏ចាប់ផ្ដើម flood
yeah Germany
yeah we see that they start flooding. Those will happen more frequently and more intensely if the global warming is at 2 degrees, and this is well researched, so we know like almost like a fact.
ខ្មែរយើងគឺ flood រាល់ឆ្នាំណា
Yeah. ហើយគេឲ្យ data ទៀតគឺ agricultural ជាមួយ ecological drought. Okay. But that drought គេអត់និយាយ everywhere. គេនិយាយ like rainforest and stuff. Rainforest and stuff គេនិយាយពី precipitation វិញ but it's going to be more rain កន្លែងដែលមាន rain ហើយ there's going to be more rain កន្លែងដែល drought there's going to be more drought. Right? It's not like
it can't just like cancel
it's not like rain there's going to be drought ដែរអញ្ចឹង it can't cancel អត់ការទេ rain there's going to be more rain because ភ្លៀង going to be ភ្លៀងមក drought going to be more drought. So they're only talking about drought. 10-year event ដូចគ្នា 1.5 degree 2 degree happen 2 times more and 2.4 times more, and for it's going to be drier because drought is going to be drier, and they don't use percentage, they use standard deviation.
Okay.
This is also interesting, talking about ice cap and melting and stuff. Can't give exact numbers, but take it from scientists. Thomson Edwards, climate scientist, one of the co-author of the IPCC. She's saying that for the last 3 years, they look at 14,000 studies.
How many again?
14,000 studies. Yeah, they don't go into the specific study, but they look at that like glaciers on top of mountains. Glaciers, polar region, Greenland, and Antarctica. The finding is Greenland glaciers are melting, and the Greenland it's irreversible. It's not gonna go away. That's what they're saying. ទី1 glacier on top of mountain ដូចថាក្នុងខ្ពស់ហ្នឹងមិនមែនតកដែលវាលាយណាស់ឡើយព្រោះវាក្តៅជាងមុនវាលាយ Those places can be reversed. ដូចថាបើយើង cut down on emission, everything stabilized at 1.5 degree Celsius. Over time it will grow back. The ice will it will grow back. And same with the polar region. Polar នៅកន្លែងចំ pole នៅខាងលើ
pole
pole តែ pole មានពីរ pole មានខាងក្រោម Antarctica same ប៉ុន្តែ for ពីរទៀត Greenland ជាមួយ Antarctica even if we cut emission កន្លែងពីរហ្នឹងគឺ sensitive មែនតើ sensitive to melting ចាំមានន័យថា melt ហើយ and អត់ងាយ very slow to respond អត់ងាយ reverse ទៅវិញលាយ It says កន្លែងនេះទៀត each 1000 gigatons CO2 will cause an increase of 0.45 degrees Celsius of the world.
1 gigaton
1 gigaton នេះវាស្មើនឹង 1 gigaton ស្មើនឹង 1 billion tons. Okay នៅក្នុងសភៅរបស់ Bill Gates ហ្នឹងគេនិយាយថា51 billion ton រាល់ឆ្នាំអញ្ចឹងបើ51 billion ton មិនស្មើនឹង51 gigaton ដូចគ្នាណាថាអត់អញ្ចឹងបើយើងគិត20ឆ្នាំ50 10ឆ្នាំវា500 20ឆ្នាំវា1000 gigaton អញ្ចឹង1000 gigaton ស្មើនឹង 0.45 degree ត្រូវហើយ20ឆ្នាំចុងក្រោយហ្នឹង51 gigaton រាល់ឆ្នាំ51 billion ton រាល់ឆ្នាំ20ឆ្នាំឡើង half degree 20ឆ្នាំឡើង half degree 20ឆ្នាំឡើង half degree